Welcome to Chess Sigma YouTube channel. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us start the game. Magnus played white and Garry played black. Okay, let us start. First white. White moves d4. Next. Next black moves to d5. Next. Magnus white moves to next c5. Okay, sorry. c4. Next. Garry black moves to c6. Next, Magnus knight moves to f3. f3. Okay. Next, Garry knight moves to f6. Okay. Next, Magnus knight moves to c3. Next, Garry pawn moves to e6. Next, Magnus bishop moves to g5. Next, Garry knight moves to okay. Garry knight moves to bd7. Okay, bd7. Next, Magnus pawn moves to e3. Okay. Next, Garry queen moves to a5. Okay. Next, Magnus knight moves to d2. Knight moves to d2. Okay. Knight moves to d2. Next, Garry bishop moves to e4. Next, Magnus queen moves to c2. Okay. Next, Garry traveling takes place. Okay. Next, Magnus bishop moves to e2, white bishop. Okay. Next, Garry pawn moves to e5. e5. Next, Magnus takes place the castling. Next, Garry kills the pawn, moves to d4. Next, Magnus knight moves to b3. Okay. Magnus knight moves to b3. Next, Garry queen moves to b6. Okay. Next, Magnus pawn moves to d4. Okay. Next, Garry pawn moves to c4. Wait. 1 second. Okay, sorry. I mistakenly put the steps. Okay, next the pawn will take place. Okay, Magnus pawn move this d4. Next, Garry pawn moves to c5. Garry pawn moves to c5. Next, Magnus bishop moves to c4, kills the pawn. Next, Garry pawn moves to f5. Okay. Next, Magnus pawn moves to a4. Okay. Next, Garry queen moves to c7. Next, Magnus rook moves to ae1. Next, Harry pawn moves to h6. Next, bishop moves to h4. Next, Harry bishop moves to b6. Okay. Magnus pawn moves to h3. Sorry. h3. Okay. Next, Magnus Kenneth moves to b6. Kenneth moves to b6. Here is the position. Okay. Next. Okay. Next, Magnus Bishop moves to f6. f6. Where is f6? And please wait 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Magnus Bishop moves to f6. Okay. Next, Garry. Okay, Garry moves to knight to c4. Next, Magnus knight to e4. That is Magnus connects to e4. Next, Bishop moves to h2. h2. Here is a check. Next, Magnus king moves to h1. Next, Garry. Okay, Garry will takes place. Where to where? Okay. Garry cannot moves to d6. Next, here king moves to okay. Next, king moves to h2 and takes place the Garry bishop. Next, black connect moves to e4, takes place the white connect. Next, here is a check. Next, Magnus king moves to wait 1 second. Here is a bishop is there. Okay, bishop moves to e5. Next, Garry connect moves to d6. Oh shit, man. Garry cannot moves to d6. Sorry. d6. Okay, safe side, defensive here. Next, Magnus cannot moves to d2. Okay. Next, Rook. Garry Rooks moves to d8. That is a d8. Okay, d8. Next, Magnus. Okay, Magnus d8. Okay. Magnus moves to pawn to d5. Next, Garry moves the queen to d7. Next, Magnus moves to a knight to d4. Next, Garry moves to a knight to f5. Next, Magnus will takes place the pawn. Okay, Magnus will take place the pawn. Next, Garry will also take place the pawn. Next, Magnus will take place the knight. Wait. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Next here, Magnus takes place to pawn. Next, Garry moves the rook. I think rook. So the Garry moves to the rook. Next, Magnus moves to the rook to d1. Next, Magnus queen moves to Magnus. Sorry. Garry queen moves to e6, e6, e6. Next, Magnus rook moves to f1, f1. Here to here, f1. Next, Garry bishop moves to b7, b7. Next, Magnus connect moves to d4, d4. Okay, here. Next, Garry connect moves to here, d4. Next, Magnus takes place the connect d4 and d4. Next, Garry moves to queen to g6, the g6. Okay. Next, Magnus queen to g4, g4. Okay. Next, Garry takes place the queen. Next, Magnus also takes place the queen. Pawn moves to g4. Next, Garry moves to c6, c6. Next, Magnus moves to b3. Next, Garry moves to f6, f6. Next, camel moves to fc3, fc3. Next, Garry takes place to rooks to e1. Okay. Next, Magnus takes place to rook, black rook, e1 position. Next, black bishop to d5, d5, d5. Next, Magnus to the b1. Okay. Next, king to the f7. Next, king to the g3. Okay. Next, took the place to b8, b8. Okay. Understand. b8. Next, Magnus takes the pawn to b4. Okay. Next, Garry takes place the pawn to b4. Next, bishop kills the pawn. Next, bishop moves the c. Okay, sorry. Okay. c4, c4. Next, this one to the a5. Pawn moves to the a5. Next, bishop moves to the a6. Next, f3. Pawn moves to the f3. Next, king moves to the g g6, g6. Next, king moves to the f4, f4. Next, pawn moves to the h5. Next, white pawn takes place the black pawn. Next, king will take place the h5. Next, rook to the h1 check. Okay. Next, these two g6 position. Okay. Next, bishop to the c5, c5. Next, rook takes to the b2, b2 here. Next, king will take place the g3, Okay, here white king. Next, rook will takes place to the a2, a2. Okay, okay, a2. Next, bishop will takes place to the e. How much? b6, b6. Next, king moves to the. Okay, okay, sorry. This one. Black king moves to the f7, f7. Next, rook moves to the c1. Next, pawn moves to the g5. Okay. Next, Magnus plays to check. Okay, white rose plays the check. Next. Okay. Next. Okay, okay, sorry. Here to here. Okay, I forwarded. Put a step down. Here to g5. Next one check. Sorry, check. Next, king moves to the g6. Next, rook moves to the c6. 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 Next, bishop moves to the f1. f1. Next, bishop moves to the f2. There is a f2. Yeah, f2. Okay, f2. Here to here. The draw. The match is draw. Magnus and Garry both or draw the game. Okay. Please do subscribe my channel. Just ignore, like, share, comment.